Good morning. For those of you who've just joined us, could you do a sound check for me and see? Oh, morning, Thelma, and just see if you can hear me. That would be great. Good morning. Good morning. So I haven't heard any back from you. If we got to, there is a. Oh, what's? Let me just check and see. There we go. Yes, you can hear me. There in a minute. Lovely. Okay, so good morning, Thelma. Good morning, Ruth. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Helen. So we'll just wait a few moments. I'm going to talk to you this morning about the Pilates Essentials course, which happened. This course is happening on the Thursday mornings. If you do wish to do just the Pilates Essentials course, we've got a couple of options for you. We'll run through that at the end. So, but just to explain what we'll be doing. So, got a few others there in a minute. Okay, so I've dug out my weigh scales that used to be. I've brought them up from the studio. They used to be at the studio, so they do need a little bit of a dust. What we teach here in the Pilates is a therapeutic style of Pilates, which means that no matter what you do, this style of Pilates is not just aimed at sort of a fitness level. We're working at some real sort of therapeutic basics there. Well, not basics, but can be used no matter where you take this into your life, whether you're sort of like a high level sports person, whether you spend a lot of time working from your desk, whether you're doing a lot of heavy lifting, whatever it is your lifestyle, just your day to day sort of movements. This is giving you a really, really in depth understanding of the functioning of how to take care of your body, how it moves. A lot of people have reported back afterwards, in times of, when they've suddenly felt that their back has not been okay, they know immediately sort of some things, some moves and some exercises that can come down to bring balance back into their system and their body. So what we talk a lot about in class is the difference between what we've got is we're going to balance today mobility and stability. So first of all, and those of you who regularly will know, so what's the difference? What is mobility as opposed to flexibility? What is your difference between mobility and flexibility? So flexibility is to do with your muscles. Mobility is around your joints. So stability is around your joints. So we're looking at this balance between mobility and stability. Now, if you've got too much mobility, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're just hypermobile. Hypermobile is a place of sort of like having too much mobility. But lots of people can have too much mobility without being hypermobile. What you often see, those people know about those, you see those super bendy people, it's not just about sort of the muscles, it is about what goes on in the joint and the stability around that. Is there is a lack of stability, and often lots of youngsters, you see young girls particularly, really excelling at gymnastics, and people, they're the sort of people that often get drawn into yoga because they can create these amazing shapes, and there's a lot of mobility. What's important in those people is to make sure you've got enough stability to support that. Otherwise, you will get problems in the joints with that when you get too much mobility. The other way is too much stability. Then results is stiffness. So you lose that range in your joints. So it's understanding what the full range, that range, it stands for ROM, range of motion, trying to get full range back in your joints. And what we're looking at all the time is the balance of making sure you've got enough stability around a joint to support it in everything you do, and then making sure that you've got enough mobility. So, for example, if you have an injury, often the muscles will like support it by all tightening up around it, and then you get this stiffness around it. And what happens then is we need to be able to encourage the relaxation. That's the pandiculation that happens. We need to be able to relax the muscles that have tightened up around it. And once we've actually in a way sort of like allowed the body to say it's safe to relax around that protection, it's then that you want to bring back sort of the stability around that joint and then look at sort of remobilizing. So once you've stabilized, it's then safer to mobilize. So it's always getting this balance between the mobilizing and the stabilizing. So this is this focus. We are going to use this sense of what this weigh scales into today, focus for what happens in our body. I've just noticed I've just flicked on and off there. Are you all still with me? So good morning, Sue. Good morning, Mandy. So what I'd like us to do today, we're going to, when I talk about the core, it's not just sort of like the abdomen exercises. The core I refer to literally is the pelvis, the chest and the head, and the spine as a connector between all of those. That is the core of your body. So the things that come out, our arms and legs that go out from that, but the whole of the center of our body is our core, pelvis, chest and head, and the whole spine. And that's what we're looking for in terms of mobility and stability to support. We're going to focus today on the pelvis and finding that balance. So first of all, what I'd like you to do is wherever you are sat, whether that's on a chair right now, whether that's on the floor, no matter what your legs position your legs are in, whether straight, cross-legged, however they are, can you, I mean, this can be difficult if you're on something that's soft, but it doesn't matter. Can you rock side to side? I'm going to just do a little bit of a, and can you feel your sit bones? It can be a little bit, and can you sense the balance between your sit bones? Now, if you're cross-legged, that will impact on maybe which side is maybe heavier on your sit bone, and hence why if you are used to being on the floor quite a lot and you're cross-legged, we talk about habits and undoing habits to create new neural pathways. You'll always tend to cross your legs the same way. So if you are sat cross-legged on the floor, you cross them the other way and it's like your pelvis suddenly goes, oh, that feels really strange. If you sat on a chair, that might not be as obvious, but take notice of that, particularly in your car when you're driving, sense, you know, where you are. If you've got a firmer chair, if you're not sure what's happening, you can take your hands, tuck them underneath your buttocks, and you can see if you can get the sense it's a little bit. I think I've got short arms for that, so it doesn't always reach. So can you sense the balance there, and is it even? Okay, so we're going to continue with that sense of balance in different areas of your pelvis. So what I'd like you to do now is we talk about this circle here as around your compass. So this pubic bone here will be south, which means that up here is your north. And then your pelvic bony crests are your east and west. So it doesn't matter which your east and west. It happens that my left side is my east and my right side is my west, but I don't mind as long as you remember which is your east and west. What we're going to work with now is the east and west. And Lord, I'll turn sideways so you can see that. Can you move your pelvis? If you stand up or if you kneel up, can you move your pelvis in a way that you can push these forwards and back? Okay, so what we're going to experience now, let me move these a little bit more. If you create space around you and lie onto your back and find your east west. So the reason why I asked if you could get a book or a cushion is if you look at your head position, and if your head position is tipped back when you're lying down, get a book can be better because it can be more even. You don't want something too high. I don't want your head up here. But if you feel that your head tips back, just create something under your head to support that. And then bring your fingers to find your east-west side on your pelvic crests. Lovely. Now can you do that same movement? Imagine that's a weigh scale. So you just saw me there with the scales. Can you tip your east and west from side to side? Exaggerate it. Make it really big. Can you bring one side right up and down and the other side right up and down? And as you're doing this, I want you to feel the weight of your pelvis on the mat. So it's the mat or the floor underneath you that can sense how your weight is moving from east to west. And just like the weigh scales I had a moment in front of you, sense that there's a real up and down movement. It's like a seesaw. So really sense that one side is going straight up on that vertical line and pushing straight down. So as well as lifting, can you sense the other side is pushing down to create pressure down behind you and feel that up, down vertical line movement. Lovely. Okay, let's play with that a little bit further. I'd like you to lift one leg in the air, which we call tabletop. So your shin is the tabletop and your knee is directly above your hip. And keep your fingers. So your fingers are a good reference point, but what's even better is your internal awareness by sensing your pelvis. Where is the weight now on the back of your pelvis on the weigh scale? Is it still in the center or has it tipped to the side that the leg's in the air? Let's do the same weigh scale movement now. Can you push it up and down? And this is now when that vertical movement I was just talking about before really comes into place. So you can sense that table leg, which is your thigh leg, pushing up and down on that vertical line. Can you make it as big as you can? Can you really feel these muscles around your waist, core, around your belly, moving? And as you lift the side with the leg in the air as high as you can you really push down the hip that's on the other side? So if it was your east side that was up, your west side pushes heavy down, and then change. Can you really push your east side down and lift your west side as high as you can? Can you now make that smaller and smaller and find when the weigh scale is balanced? So that's right in the sacrum. Okay, breathe in. And as you blow up a balloon, draw in your low abdominals into where that point is that you can feel pressing on the mat. So it's about an inch, 2 inches above your pubic bone, is drawing right in to where you feel balanced. Now, this is going to stay stabilized. Breathe in again. As you breathe out, the leg that's in the air goes out to the side, but keep checking your weigh scale of east and west is stabilized. So it'll mean you're having to counterbalance because my east side leg is moving out. My west side of my pelvis is having to counterbalance and put lots more weight, driving that down and bring it back in. So we're learning to stabilize and use muscles. And again, feel where the weight is on the back of the pelvis and keep it centralized. Draw it back in. Really simple move, but I'm hoping you can feel that. There are other fine points that we can detail on that as the course goes in. Sometimes people start to shorten the waist on the side that's actually the leg that's moving out. You can hip hitch, I call it, waist shorten. Some people, the leg that's not moving can be pushing through the foot that's on the ground. Sometimes that leg can be counterbalancing and falling out. So there's lots of things to notice there. That should feel quite a challenge. It's very simple, but if you're really stabilizing You should feel it in this cross balance. Lovely. Squeeze that knee right in. Lovely. Tuck your chin in. Press the back of the neck down. Breathe in. As you breathe out, lift your head and sense how many vertebrae you can get off the mat. So you're not aiming to get your head to your knee. You're sensing how many vertebrae you can lift. So it's your upper back getting off the ground as much as you can. Breathe in nice and steady through your nose. Breathe out and take that all the way down. Lovely. Let's place that foot down. Let's do the same with the other side. Can you sense, just have a moment and sense fine-tuning sensory feedback? And the more you notice, the more over time you will develop that communication with your neuro pathways. You will receive more information. So like an artist or a musician that trains themselves to see more, hear more sounds, the more you pay attention to your senses, the richer the information is that comes back, and it can take practice. So let's lift the other leg up into your tabletop. Okay. East and west. Does that feel more evenly balanced? The reason I'm saying that is it's quite interesting, because for me that side naturally stays stabilized. The other side I have to work out quite a lot to stabilize. So when you've got one leg up in the air, now east and west, feel the pressure on the back, and let's begin to move the waist scales up and down. Sense that vertical line, that you're going straight up with one side, and really sense the push down as the other side lifts. Make the movement as big as you can, so you'll really feel this X movement happening through around your waist area, your belly. Again, that becomes much more complex as we go on, because other than north and south, we start to get northeast and southwest starting to go on as well. We do work with that diagonal line, as some of you'll know. Okay, so make that movement smaller and smaller, and sense when you're in the middle, and you can feel that because the weight is balanced with the pressure you feel on the back of your pelvis. Is it right in the middle on your sacrum? Breathe in, blow up a balloon, and draw in your lower abdominals just an inch above your pubic bone, so you're anchoring the center of that waist scales. The next time you breathe out and blow up a balloon, take that leg out to the side and check the balance of your waist scale between east and west. Bring it back on the in breath, take it back out on the out breath. You bring it in on the in breath, take it out on the out breath. So things to notice as you're doing that, first of all, is yes, is your waist scale balanced? You may need to be counterbalancing on the side that the leg's not moving, so pushing to make sure it stays even with the weight. But as we said before, the leg that's moving out, does the foot also go out with you, or do you leave your foot in the center line? So does the foot, which adds extra weight? Do you keep the leg foot that's on the ground feather light? Just check it doesn't counterbalance and go out. Where's your challenge point? How far can you get that knee out without it tipping? See, find right to the edge, and the minute it goes, no, I can't hold it any longer, you don't go any further than that. See where, work right to the edge of where that challenge point is. And bring that knee into your chest, squeeze, tuck the chin in, press the back of the neck down, breathe in, breathe out and lift your head right up. See how many vertebrae. So it's not about getting your head as high as you can, it's about getting more vertebrae in your upper back off the ground. And take yourself back down. Lovely. Take 2 feet down to the ground. Take your arms out wide to the side. Let both knees fall open in opposite directions, soles of your feet together. Lovely. Again, let's rock. It feels very different, this. Rock now the weigh scales from side to side. And really, can you sense the muscles around your waist that's making that movement happen? So is that seesaw again that's now happening. And then one knee comes up like pages of a book that's going to close, and you squeeze the top knee down into the underneath knee and look the opposite direction. Breathing in. Let's open the knees and rock from side to side. And lift the other knee up and over. Squeeze the top knee down into the underneath knee. Look the opposite direction. Lovely. And open and just rock. Okay, so let's take, doesn't matter which side, but rolling so you can see me on the screen. You're rolling onto your side. We're going to experience that balance now in a very different way. So we're actually stacked like a tower block. So again, you don't want to be, if you put your hand on your hip and push it back and push it forwards, and then we want to have your top hip stacked underneath your hip. So lift your feet a couple of inches. You can have your hand still on your hip, and we're going to open your knees as wide as you can without your tower block falling back. Keep your head heavy. So what this means is you should feel more happening and squeeze going on in your buttocks, and come back. And again. And squeeze. And one more. So you can do more of those. We're just running through a little bit of a taste of what's happening here. Lovely. And then come back down. So let's roll over onto your front. Okay. So what I'd like you to do here on your front is the same movement. Rock your pelvis. It doesn't feel quite the same. It feels like more like you're swaying from side to side. But rock yourself. Sway your pelvis side to side. And then let it center. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, draw in that space an inch above your pubic bone that we did when you were lying on your back. So you can feel that draw in up away from the ground, as if you're protecting a little egg that's nestling underneath your low belly. Lovely. Keep doing that. Hold it, sustain it, draw it in, draw it in. Can you keep lifting that while you breathe in and out? And let that relax. Now let's take your hands around and place your hands under your east-west pelvic crests again. Do the same movement. Feel a little bit different now because you're not rocking, but can you push one side of your pelvic crest into one hand quite firmly and feel it? And then slowly shift over and push the other side. Does it naturally feel like it's balanced, or do you feel like you've definitely got one side heavier than the other as your starting point? I know I do. And can you press them both down so you feel that it's even between your east and west? Lovely. Just push your pubic bone down into the mat as well. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, one straight leg, make it as long as you can and lift it. Feel your glutes squeeze. You're not trying to go high because I want your pubic bone to stay in touch with the ground. But can you keep the weight even between your east and west? Place it down. Breathe in, breathe out. Lift the other leg. Long straight legs, squeeze the front of your thigh, squeeze your buttock and bring it down. Lovely. So you keep your head looking straight down. I don't want your head to be craning in strange directions. Your nose is just hovering off the mat. And each time you breathe out, you're lifting a leg, and as you breathe in, it comes down. But your main focus is feeling the weight on the hands. Is it even between your east and your west? And keep protecting that little egg. Draw your low abdominals in. Lovely. One more. And then bring it down. Lovely. Let's take yourself up and onto your other side. I'm going to have my back to you. Okay. And same again. So hand on your hip, lift your feet a couple of inches. Tower block. So you're looking to see if that's stacked. So you can play with that and see if you roll it back and roll it forwards. And when do you feel like you've got a tower block with your top hip sat underneath your underneath leg? Your feet are lifted a couple of inches. Breathing out and open that knee as wide as you possibly can without your tower block falling over. Squeeze as wide as you can and bring it back. We'll do 2 more of those. If you're doing these as a repeat, like 7 is a good number, you can do 12. I'm just going to do 3 today. And bring those back. Lovely. And then let's roll over onto your back. Okay. Lovely. So back onto your back, your feet are close into your buttocks, your knees are bent. Okay. And then breathe in. And as you breathe out, press your low back down, push through 2 feet and take your pelvis up in the air. Hands are still feeling your east-west points. So push your pelvis a little bit higher and feel a squeeze in both your buttocks. Bring your pelvis down a little bit and relax both your buttocks. Okay. So what we're going to do now is just push, whether that's your west side up, and squeeze the buttocks in just the side. Can you focus on the side that's not gone up? Are the buttocks relaxed? You can actually just check sometimes. If you're doing, remember the massage when you do the percussion things and it's like a thing, you can actually just give yourself, just check that that's thing, and then and your other side is squeezing and bring that down. Check both buttocks are relaxed. It can sometimes be more challenging. Remember, a tight muscle is a weak muscle. If your muscles are always squeezing, that is a weak muscle. So it's just as important to be able to relax them. So we're going to push the other side up and feel the squeeze, but is the other side relaxed? And bring it down. Lovely. Now, keeping that balance between your east and west, okay, so they're not going to go up and down. You will feel your buttocks working in this. They should be relaxed at the moment, but you will feel them switching on in a minute. Let your fingers check the balance. Breathe in. As you breathe out, don't lift, but take the weight off one foot. And try and make sure that the hip doesn't lift off. You've got this balance between east and west. Put the weight down. Breathe in, breathe out, take the weight off the other foot and put it down. Now, often what you see in a lot of classes is them doing these big moves with the legs moving around and everything, which are really good moves, but unless you've learned how to stabilize this before you set off doing any of that, all this leg moving around in the air, like a lot of moves, is not really doing what the purpose of Pilates is, which is in the center of the core. So it's all very well moving the legs around. So breathe in, breathe out. Just the weight. If you wish to lift the heel or the foot a little bit and feel what a challenge that is to make that such a small movement, place the foot down. As you breathe out, let's lift the heel and then the whole foot and keep stabilizing. And by making these movements small, you'll notice if you've got a weaker side. Anybody? Yes or no? Okay, let's take your arms overhead. Breathe in, breathe out, tuck your chin in, bring your spine down vertebra by vertebra. Sink your breastbone, sink your low ribs, navel in. Can the low back touch the ground before your pelvis? And return your arms. Lovely, well done. So just to finish, because we've done quite a bit of work on the glutes, I'd like you to lift one foot, cross it across the opposite knee. Let's open the hip socket up. You can stay like that, or if you wish to, if you choose, you can lift the foot off the ground and you can draw that knee in. And one of the tricks to this is if you can pull that in as close as you can and then actually drop your weight back into your buttocks so you're not curling your buttocks off the ground as much as you can. And it can be quite nice to hold this for about a minute if you're doing these at home in your own time. Okay, as you lower the leg, breathe out, draw your low abdominals in to support that, and we'll swap sides. Push open the hip. Again, one of the things to look for in this exercise, if you've still got your cushions on, books over your head, is to check your head doesn't start to draw back. Breathe in, breathe out, lift the foot off the ground, hold the back of the thigh. If you've got no problems with your knees, it's a nice one to do. And if you've got the range, you can hold the front of your shin. And again, if you're doing this at home in your own time, you can actually feel free to hold that for like a minute if you like. It can be much more. But as you pull that knee right in, try to keep dropping your weight of your pelvis down so you're not curling your buttocks up, and you should feel that really ease into that stretch even more. Talk nicely to whatever's stretching. And place that on the ground. Lovely. Okay. So just to finish with, if you just place your arms out wide to the side, and then again, we'll take the legs really wide. We're going to do a different movement with the hips. Just drop one knee in, keeping the other knee straight upwards. You will feel one side of your pelvis pull up. That's fine. We're not trying to keep that balance between your east and west. And we'll bring that up. We'll do your other side. And we'll bring that up. Lovely. Well done. So that's a short introduction of the stabilization. Let me just see who's with us again. Okay, so what we're explaining is that between balance of mobility and stability. That's the Pilates Essentials course that we're going to be running on a Thursday morning. If you want to do that session live, please do ask me. It's not part of the live 6, but you can do that as a standalone course just on a Thursday morning live, and you will, like with the other courses, you have access to it for the full 6 weeks, after it's been aired. But also, if you wish to have that for much longer, the Pilates Essentials package has already been done. It's already pre-recorded. You can go onto the website under wellness packages, and you can have that for 6 months. If it's £45 on the website, you can have it for 6 months. And you can utilize that as much as you can. So the Pilates Essential course covers, each week we have a different areas that we focus on. So week 1, we'll be focusing on breathing. So you heard me a little bit there. There's a huge amount to do with breathing, but in terms of that, how that stabilizes when you breathe in, when you exhale, And it's not as always sometimes as clear as that you always breathe in on a move or always breathe out. It's understanding the dynamics of why you would choose to do what and how that supports it in different ways. So week 1 is breathing. Week 2, we work on the quadrants. So the quadrants is what I talked about at the beginning, which is the circle here, the north, south, east, and west, and then all the diagonal lines in between, rolling the marble around the dinner plate, and how that gets challenged depending on the extremities, your arms and legs that we talked about, depending on what they're doing. How do you stabilize in your core quadrants? So that's week 2. Work on hips, which we did a little bit today. So we work onto the hips is a ball and socket joint. It's designed to have a huge range of motion. It often gets stiff, which is overstable, and what we need the hip to be is really mobile. So week 4 is knees and ankles. So week is interesting. So with knees and ankles, we need usually more stability. We do need the mobility, but we often need a lot of stability around. It only works in a 2-plane movement, as the knee needs lots of stability. The ankle needs this lovely balance between mobility and stability. So that's week 4. Week 5 is shoulders and neck. We work all around this upper arm motion, this position of what goes on in your upper back, things in this forward anterior rotation of the shoulder. Since we're opening here, we work a lot with that alignment and the upper spine and your neck position. That's week 5. And week 6, we put it all together and you've got a full workout. So that's the Pilates Essentials. It's happening live on Thursday mornings. You can choose just to do that one on Thursday mornings. It's not part of the Live 6, or you can do it as the wellness package. And then what else have we happening? Jackie, really useful. Thank you, Thelma. So if you want to do that one, on those of you who do the Live 6 package, I will be putting together another. There is a taster already up there, but we are working with Soma spirals. So if you want to do the Soma spirals, this is a thing that I've been working on for a couple of years now. How everything, and that's based on pandiculation and spiraling. So flexibility is to do with spiraling. You gain flexibility in muscles, natural movement and strength through spiraling. So the Mondays is working with flexibility and strength through spiraling. It's through the whole body. Okay, and the Thursday morning is working with mobility and stability. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. I got hi Marika, hi Janet. So we just did was a great stretch, Julie. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Really simple ones. This stability of the pelvis, if you practice those, are just really beneficial. So if it makes it's a bit of an eye opener, just understand that balance of left and right. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but it can be really common. I've got a slight rotation on in my pelvis, and again, as I was saying, the more you fine tune, the more you notice, the more you spend time, like I said, like a musician or an artist would do, in sort of training and noticing, the artists in terms of what they're seeing, musicians in the sets, the amount of sound and different noises they hear. We can be artists in terms of fine tuning your sensory feedback, keep listening in, keep tuning in all the time. It's not just when you're down on the mat, it's everything you do. When you sat in the car, we were talking about this balance here of your 2 sit bones, the weight here, wherever you're sat now, notice, the weight through both of your sit bones. And again, if you are sat down cross-legged, you'll probably always, like most people, have your legs crossed by habit in one direction, simply by changing. But again, notice the habits of how you sit and what chair you sit on and how you sit and your chair and you're driving. Sense that balance between your sit bones. Okay, so we're beginning our courses next week. So we have the Live 6. We have the Live 6 as one package. If you've got any questions, just message me. And then we've got, like I said, we've got all our other multi-pass ones as well in different sessions. So if you're interested, just drop us a line. So thank you, Sue. That session's got you all fired up again. I'm looking forward to seeing you too. Like I said, we'll be doing the Soma spirals on Monday night. Helen said, feels like starting all over again. It is. It's in terms of starting all over again. There's always we will be moving through. That is the Thursday mornings. It's really really important to sort of like get this best. We will be actually. That was just a little bit of a taster, but we will be moving through all sorts of like you know different exercises as well. So hope you enjoy that. Have a good morning, and I'll see you soon. See you later, Ruth. See you soon. Hope you're all doing okay and everything. I don't know what people are up to and everything. I know some of you will be still working and some of you will be at home, but we're hoping to. It's really nice to connect with you again. So getting ready in sort of into the new year. So see you soon.